Well, thank you all for coming. I'm Rebecca Curry. I'm the Public Services Supervisor in Special Collections and Archives, which is hosting our program tonight. Everyone who's here to perform will get a maximum 5-minute time slot. If you have less than that, that's perfectly fine. If you have 5 minutes and 30 seconds, we'll allow it. The microphone is adjustable, so if you need to change the height for yourself, it works like this. So with that being said, our first performer is Luke Johnson.
Give me just a moment, please. I have to get this. Okay, folks, can you hear me in the back? Okay, thank you. Well, let me just preface this off by saying that since we're dealing with stuff that deals with childhood, I must say, first of all, I must warn you that I really did not grow up on the pop culture of my generation. Having had a father who was a truck driver, I did not listen to bubblegum pop. I usually listen to country music of the 60s, 70s, and 80s. And one of my father's favorite singers was a man named Charlie Pride. That rings any bells? And here is one of his earliest #1 hits. Rain dripping down the brim of my hat. Sure is cold today. Here I am walking down 66. Wish she hadn't done me that way. Sleeping under a table in a roadside park. A man would wake up dead. But it sure seems warmer than it did in our king-size bed. Is anybody going to San Antonio or Phoenix, Arizona? Any place is alright as long as I can forget I haven't known her. Wind whipping down the neck of my shirt like I ain't got nothing on. But I'd rather fight the wind and rain than what I've been fighting at home. Yonder comes a truck with the U.S. mail. People writing letters back home. Tomorrow she'll probably want me back, but I'll still be just as gone. Is anybody going to San Antonio or Phoenix, Arizona? Any place is alright as long as I can forget I haven't known her. I said any place is alright as long as I can forget I haven't known her. Thank you.
Up next, we have Kevin Rabas.
Thanks, folks. It's great to be back with my artists, reading and performing. I'm going to set my watch for 5 minutes, so I make sure I don't go over. And if you are coming in just now, make sure to sign up if you want to read. So this one's called Mudra. Walkman on, climb the metal stairs to the tune of giant steps. Not just what Coltrane meant, 251, but how you get from one classroom to another in the city, your city, Kansas City, where you pack drumsticks in a bag along with thick English anthologies. You should minor in weightlifting. All those books. Kid from the suburb, but no snot drip. You now live in the city, walk past those boom boom cars. Don't look, but walk. Your girlfriend puts up her hands like a rabbit and hops. Hip hop, hip hop, hip hop. And everyone laughs. And you get drinks for your friends at Gomer's. And you get Colorado chips at Costello's. What you can afford. While the liver-spotted men raise a finger, drink gin. While the olive always goes down last. And you sit in at the half. You on drums for 2 tunes like some god-awful vocalist, no one to impress, but you do your best to send a fan of breath into the old vocalist's long white hair like a sea breeze or a manhole puff, make everyone big red dress sexy as Marilyn on the city sidewalk. A drummer is a breath, a wind, a drug. Okay, so there's one. I have a bunch of sketches. I've been writing these short bits, and I'll read a few of them. If you cannot hear bug song or bird song, you've gone too far in. The wasp is small, but its sting is big. Some spiders keep their nets up, webs up, even in the sun, though they do their fishing mainly at night when the floodlights are bright. Be still, the wasp needs more room than you. His mother owned that land, made him buttered toast, Thoreau. They sent me flowers, big ones, a sunflower, starflower, some flowers I don't know, but that pop with color, open to the sun. 2.5 days in the hospital, days with my wife by my side in a chair by my bed, nights watched over by petals, stamens, stems. And this one's called Wright Brother Teeth. Wilbur Wright had his teeth knocked out in a hockey game. It was no accident. The other kid became the first mass murderer around in that county, town. Weak, sick, Wilbur began to invent. And I have a bunch of sketches about Charlie Bird Parker, the genius from Kansas City, Kansas, who cut his teeth in Kansas City, Missouri, one of the wonderful folks of our state. They're in a rush, urgent. Boppers have no time for a ballad that time of night. Birds up front soloing, and he's who we come to see, come to blow the whole rooftop off. Who else is out there listening to Charlie Parker tonight? Like someone with a hand on a knob of a ham radio. Together we listen for bird song. Late the morning songbirds, all long gone to bed. Probably got time for one or two more. Charlie Parker played a con alto sax with an underslung neck. Julie Reilert of Roland Park used to fix it. That plastic sax the American Jazz Museum bought. Bird only played once or twice. Dooley called it a terrible horn. So I'm going to stop there. You can make your pilgrimage to see that horn at 18th and Vine sometime. And thanks for being among poets and writers and musicians tonight. Right on.
Up next, we have Brenda White, author of a 2022 Kansas Notable Book.
Okay. Am I close enough to it?
No. Let me help. Try that.
Okay. All right, keeping with the theme of childhood, I'm going to read the first one. It's called Changelings. Zilpha Keatley Snyder taught me about grief, not fitting in with my peers or my family, that it was painful to lose your only friend, and how being odd in an even world was a hollow ache of shed and unshed tears. But her pages played music my heart hummed, haunting, minor, and solitary. Being different wasn't criminal or faux pas, she said. Your outside was not you, and your true self was magic. I could be a fairy princess dancing in trees, balanced amid limbs and branches, a diadem of flowers and tiny wings. I could project the possibility of grace if I acted graceful, even if only by myself. I could be beautiful as the flowers I pretended to gather. It didn't matter if I really was a goblin exchanged for a mortal child. Inside, I was the Milky Way and petals, birthing stars and prisms of light as I fought to place my feet on human roads and still be fey. And this next one sort of fits in, I think, a little bit with a childhood theme. It's called Mended. My shoulders have been stitched together like a rag doll's. White scar seams on left and right, as if some child swung me round by my arms and tendons gave with loosened threads. Tacked together, blue fish line fiber, as surgeons made me whole. Now I am ready to spin, dance, or be flopped beneath a tree, forgotten until morning. Kevin, you can tell me if I'm getting close to the 5 minutes because I don't want
Yeah.
to read over.
Sure.
This one is called A Fat Woman Considers Clouds. The average cloud weighs 1.1 million pounds, and I thought I was fat. Why, I'm merely a droplet next to a cloud's mass, a feather's fractal, if you will. Yet I can drive through clouds resting on the ground, and no one can drive through me without incident. I jiggle and bobble as I navigate Earth, while clouds wisp across firmament like ghosts in slow motion, metamorphosing shapes and statures until they touch heaven or vanish altogether. I'm pinned to the earth by gravity, by my body's rolls of excess. Why can't I be free as a cloud, drifting like an angel through atmospheres, simultaneously porous and opaque? I guess I'm not willing to be 1,000,000 pounds heavier. This one is called Production Work. When parts are coming down the conveyor belt like floodwater breaking a dam, you scramble to box them and realize there's no time to pick them up. You have eternity to rethink your entirety of life. What misaligned path twisted your fate to this place? Feet aching, hands flailing at this plastic deluge. One glimpse through the Akashic tome before birth, you saw all possibilities and chose this place, this line and its mountain of molded projectiles surging past your grasp. Is this how one refines a soul, redefines patience and service to others, packing plastic in boxes that strangers will find useful? Is production work the emery cloth that burnishes a spirit bright as Aldebaran or the North Star? Am I still okay?
You got 1 minute.
Okay, this one's short. Good. This one's called Fall Memory. At dusk in the timber, I head back to the house with the black cat who followed me to the creek. There are coyotes and owls I don't see, so I look back, make sure he's close. Then we both return home. Sunlight dips the skyline, darkens timber, and scratching sounds nearby make me jerk on the well-worn path. But it's only a possum, climbing between trees, who freezes when our eyes connect, his smile revealing pointed teeth. Come on, I call to the cat, barely visible in the dark, who meows and scampers up. The house is still some distance. Then movement draws my sight. Behind us, the black silhouette of an owl, wingspan nearly wide as the creek, glides above the water in silence and floats away from us.
Up next we have Debra Irsik.
Good evening. I kind of stuck with the childhood theme, so the first one is called Goldie. I'm going to have to put my glasses on. We hopscotched, skipped, and walked home to Grandma's house. My brother stopped, crouching on the broken concrete sidewalk. He put his hands out and made kissing noises to a frightened puppy. It wagged and whined and licked, so he picked it up. My two sisters and I shook our heads. I said, "Grandma won't let us keep him." He shrugged, "She might." I nodded with the wisdom of an 8-year-old. "She won't. You're just going to make it harder by taking it home." My sisters and I exchanged knowing looks. But my brother held an extra special place in Grandma's heart. The first grandson place. He begged and tried to make the puppy do tricks to show Grandma how smart the puppy was. Unsurprisingly, Grandma caved, with one condition: we will put an ad in the paper. Lost puppy. The day the paper came out, we rushed home breathless with fear. Someone might have called. We said our silent collective prayers that the puppy was dumped, not lost. By the end of the week, no one had called, so Goldie, she was a golden cocker spaniel, was now a member of our family, our companion and friend, 4 wounded children, and 1 found puppy. My next one is called Lots of Laughs. Sometimes it ripples from your head to your toes, or maybe it trickles and tickles your nose. There's the hearty one, like Santa's ho, 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 the I'm not sure one that hiccups, stops, and goes. There are the high notes that hit on your every nerve. Low gets my vote, swallowed, barely heard. There's the shared laugh that spreads around a room, shimmering silver paths till every face is in bloom. The laughter of the villain, that evil snicker or sneer, can leave you chillin' unless a hero's near. Gurgling laughs of children can be innocent and true, or breathless and wild if they're chasing you. It can lift spirits to soar, turning gray skies to blue. These giggling gifts from me to you. And one more. And this is about my little granny, and she was a little German woman about this tall. Her hair is braided and twisted in a bun. She is short of stature, but of heart the biggest one. Growing up, we measure. Soon we can look down. Upon the head we treasure, but she still wears the crown. She's proud to be an American. Her in-laws could attest. When they talk to us in German, she says, English is best. She loves to go fishing off the bank of the pond with her handy cane pole and her red bandana on. If you can't find her around in the house, she'll be bent in the garden, no use to grouse. She's a little German whirlwind, her flowers delight so many, and she receives her mail addressed just Granny.
Up next, we have Elizabeth Schmidt.
Hello. I wrote this poem specifically for tonight, and I just was reflecting on all of the children's books that were really impactful to me and that my mom used to read for me. And so there's actually 19 book references in this poem, and I would kind of challenge you to see if you can pick them all out. Life is confusing and messy and strange, wilder and weirder than what's on the page. Society crams imagination into a mold. Life was simpler in the stories we told. When we were little, bushy-tailed and bright-eyed, our minds would bring these stories alive. We used to wonder, would F and G make it up the coconut tree? What would you do if you gave a mouse a cookie? We learned of sneetches with stars upon theirs, and a wolf with really large paws. Oh no, the old lady swallowed a fly, and there were 12 little girls in 2 very straight lines. We said goodnight moon with curtains of stripes, but can you believe it? Cows can type? We traveled to lands far and wide, where the wild things all like to hide. Countless hours playing I spy, curious who taught Captain Underpants to fly. We explored history through a magic tree house, and science shrank a school bus smaller than a mouse. We solved mysteries with Nancy Drew and feared the teacher from the Black Lagoon. We told scary stories in the dark, and goosebumps sure do make a mark. Something spooky to discover. Hurry, quick, duck under the covers. Safe in Mom's arms, she'd kiss my hand. I knew her love would always withstand. She's kind just like the giving tree. She'll love me forever, her baby I'll be. Ah, to be young, but it's time to grow up. Come on, get real. Regardless of the nostalgia you feel, you have a life to live and people to see, but you will always have these memories. The thoughts you wondered, the lessons you learned, these stories are treasures, they can never be burned.
Up next, we have Caroline Wade.
Hear me okay? Probably not. Okay, now can you hear me okay? Alright. process of creating some workshops based on that topic and doing art to go with it. So I ended up creating a poem that kind of coincides with that topic. So Rediscovering Connection. Sitting with a cup of hot steaming tea, learning about you, learning about me. Sweet comfort, safety, freedom, creativity, passion, inspiration, leading to new adventures. Sexy, beautiful, brave, connecting with you, discovering more about me. Boundaries, blurred lines, where do we begin? Lovers of life, traveling, dancing, exploring, tasting, creating, expressing, feeling the waves, emotions bring new thoughts, new beginnings. One last sip of tea, understanding you, understanding me. Let's meet again tomorrow.
So we have one more performer off recording, so before that, I'll thank you all again for coming and encourage you to keep an eye out for our upcoming events. You can check the ESU calendar. You can follow us on Facebook and Twitter at ESULYL. And the next thing we have coming up is on October 7th at noon. The ESU flute choir will be here to play some flute solos, so hope to see some of you then.